might be good, huh? And then we're going to share our screen. All right, so there's a lot of people that say, Mike, how did you build your company so fast? How did you build your reputation like you did? How did you become the mayor of your town? So this particular presentation is to give you all my secrets at a very high level of what I did to have a household name in my town. And basically, I hate to say this because it's not true. Deals fall in my lap, right? Pretty much every listing I get falls in my lap. But it's not because of what I'm doing today. It's what I've been doing over the years. So a lot of hard work and cultivation comes into that. But it's not, it's a direct result of things I did in the past. So as you start paying attention and doing these things, you'll start seeing your business get bigger and bigger and faster and faster. Let's see. How do I do this? No, I don't want to answer that. Sorry, guys, the question and answers and chats are still popping up. All right, so let's just call this. This is week 7, by the way. If you're new to the group, welcome. I wasn't going to do that in the beginning and let a bunch of people in, but during this Corona thing, everybody needs some sanity. Everybody needs some good training. If you haven't taken advantage of the 60-day EXP pass, make sure you reach out to me because they're doing some incredible classes this week, all based on this Corona thing. If you're listening to this in the future on our podcast or YouTube channel, I apologize because we're going through the Corona thing, and I'm sure you remember that. All right, so let's start with this, you guys. Perception is everything in our industry. My motto has always been, do things that others can't or won't. Do things that other brokerages can't or won't. Do things that other agents can or won't. Bigger is always better. So when I go to a charity event, there might be 20 other agents there. As a matter of fact, when I first went to my first Chamber of Commerce meeting, I think it was back in, I don't know, 2000 or 2001, right about the time I got married. My wife was Ambassador of the Year for her company. She worked for Waste Management, the trash company. And she's like, you know what? You got to stop being such a snob and go get out in the community and be resourceful and helpful. Okay, fine. So she was pregnant, so we didn't have a lot to do. And I went to a chamber mixer and I saw 20 people that I knew there as agents. I'm just like, oh my God, why am I here? This is just basically an agent meeting. And lo and behold, like the next day or that night, I got a referral from somebody there. And I said, well, why would you give that to me? There's so many agents there that have always gone there and they're so into it. They just said, simple, we like your style, we like you, we don't like them. And that day it clicked for me. I said, you know what? There's room for all of us in this industry, in our community. So ever since then, it's just gone full stream ahead. But bigger is better, you guys. When I say bigger is better, is you want to be the main sponsor. You want to be the MC of the auction. You want to be banners everywhere. You want to be the one that really stands out. You want your competition to look at you and go, oh, God, Mike just got here. Oh, God, Mike's sponsoring this. I might as well just go home. Give them the feeling of, I might as well just give up, because that's what you want to do. You want to run that show. You know, you want to be the biggest thing out there. Confidence is everything. You guys already know that in our industry. When you walk into a room of politicians, business owners, influencers in your community, you got to roll in, and you have to make sure you're known when you walk into a room. When I walk into an event, people look, people stare, and people understand. I walk in with confidence. I walk in dressed appropriately. I walk in with the people that I'm supposed to be around, and everything I do is very calculated, very similar to social media. When I say always go to the top, that means the absolute top, the decision makers, the most wealthy of people, the most influential people. That's who I end up sitting with. That's who I end up socializing with. That's who I end up getting in pictures with in the newspaper, all that good stuff. And it does take a little bit of money to make money. We've heard that forever. When I say it takes money to make money, I'm saying you might have to be the highest bidder at an auction. You might have to be the person that is the main sponsor and takes a tremendous amount of work and, you know, and be very well seen and well known in there. Sorry guys, I got text messages going off like crazy this morning. Everybody wants to know about this PPP thing and all that stuff. So don't be afraid to spend a little money at the auctions, and spend a little money on the better places to sit. And this is all I'm talking about, events specifically right now, and events is where it's all at. I love events because not only is it super fun, you get to actually talk to people, and I like auctions. And as I get older, I don't like it as much, because back in the day, I didn't mind being, I don't want to say the words fake, but you have to be kind of nice to everybody, and you have to be on point. Right now, I'm at the age where I'm just like, at the part of my career, I'm like, all right, if you don't like me, I don't care. But there was a day where I wanted everybody to like me. So it took a lot of work to do that. And then all this stuff is really nurtured via social media. When I first started, there wasn't social media, so I had to consistently write handwritten notes. I'd have to pop by their offices and their buildings, stop by City Hall, and I was basically door knocking. But now that social media came out, it's a lot better way to nurture all those leads or all those relationships. So the way, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but we talked about week 2, which is everything in social media, and it's all the free ways. You're going to see it all come together right now, and this is really powerful. And I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, this is the reason I did the amount of business that I did. So print is still awesome. There is the brochures on the tables. Every time you go to an auction or something, they always want sponsors for the programs. Always get on the front page of that. I don't care how much it takes, or the back page. Do full color, do something cool with a really cool to action. I can help you, individually if you guys have things coming up that you want ideas, but I'll get into some of that too. And video is huge. Obviously, when we talk about the community events, every event you go to, the local TV stations are there, the local public access people are there, and there's always vloggers that are there nowadays, and they want to interview you. Get in front of the camera every second you possibly can. Be loud and proud, do an amazing interview, ask them for a link of that to the raw footage so you can put it on your YouTube channel and your social media. Some of the best interviews I've ever done were free, and they were at events. Hi, tell us about what's going on tonight. I see you're the main sponsor. I see you bought the big cruise to Alaska. I see you bought this or that, or I see you really rolled up your sleeves this morning and really set this all up before the event and everything. You must be exhausted. Tell us more, and and you just look all cool. So let's talk about charity. Charity to me is a big darn deal. I'm a huge believer in I take care of the community that raised and took care of me. Right? We'll give a couple $100,000 a year to charity. And I know not everybody can do that right away, but in the next couple of years, you're going to be able to do that. It's a win-win, because not only does it feel good, and I'll tell you the real thing, you have to choose to participate in what you believe in, right? So for instance, this will be our 6th year, my wife and I, chairing the Boys and Girls Club auction. I was a Boys and Girls Club kid. I didn't realize it at the time, but growing up, we didn't have any money. We had nothing. So after school, I'd go to the Boys and Girls Club. And later on, as I grew up, I learned that it turned me into a gentleman. It turned me into a leader. I knew how to compete. I knew how to work as a team. There was all these different values that the Boys and Girls Club brought to me. And I know the directions most of my friends went. They're either drug addicts, total alcoholics, in jail, beat their families. And we just didn't have the right chance to have an upbringing like a lot of people did. So I'm passionate about Boys and Girls Club. I'm also passionate about animals. I'm also passionate about single women and children of single parents. So those are some of the things that I get involved in. You might have had somebody that died from a heart attack. You might be, into cancer. You might be into all these other different charities. And in your town, there's literally hundreds of nonprofits to get involved in. I happen to put the most amount of time, effort, and money into the ones I'm passionate about. Because if you're going to all these charity events and you don't care about the endangered purple snail that lives in Uncle Joe's farm and they're trying to raise millions of dollars to protect this purple snail, you're like, I don't care. I'm not donating to this. I will step on that snail. I don't care. So it's a different type of passion, right? But what we do is we know it feels good to know we're changing lives. But the harder you work at it, the more you're involved in it, the more people give you the recognition for it, and they will say things about you from stage if you're not on stage, and you will be in all the papers, you will be in all the news, and it's a win-win, right? Because we need, as real estate agents, and sometimes people debate me on this. They say, even in the Bible, Mike, it says when you do something good for somebody, don't tell anybody about it. I debate that because it's my job as a real estate agent to be a community leader, and I need to be seen. Out of sight, out of mind, right? So if people don't see me doing good things, if we know it's all about know, like, and trust, how are they gonna need to like me if they don't see me caring about my community and doing things that other agents can or won't? So I debate that all the time with people. And if you hate the fact that I'm gonna be loud and proud about what I do, just hit leave meeting, or hang up or whatever you're doing. So anyways, we didn't lose anybody yet. So, okay, cool. Let's go on then. So you'll see little pictures of here, like me in the newspaper. Why don't I just go into the full screen here so we can see a little bit better? And even at my house, this is my backyard. We did charity events to where we would have vendors come over and we'd sell things that people make, arts and crafts. There's a while back where um, homemade shabby chic things, like just vendors, like local people that just make stuff and sell stuff. Anyway, so we would donate huge portions of that to things. When I owned HomeSmart, my brokerage, we would give money to different things all the time. This is Circle of Hope. This is for breast cancer and testicular cancer. So we're always just doing something like that, right? So when I say be seen, you want to blow up, right? So you can see here, me and my buddy Dan, we were emceeing the 40 under 40 event that year. This is my ex-partner and I, Tammy and I, we were, I don't even know what we were doing. Oh, we were doing a wine walk at the mall for that. And we were just trying to get involved and do posts for social media. My wife and I at some other event, here's Elite Magazine and the magazines. And we try to get into every single local magazine there is. So, if you have those in your town, you get all excited and you want to open them up and say, what page am I on? Where am I? And you want to be able to share that and be proud of that. Man, I wrote this. I must have been really cocky when I wrote this. Take total control of everything you can. What I mean by that is when I'm heading up some of the communities, I get to place things where I want. I get to make the event how I want. I get to control the scripts, the dialogue from stage. I get to control who my competition is and how much they're allowed to be part of these events. So be a media freak and always try to speak and get in front. I think I talked about that a little bit. Always the guy introducing people, emceeing, running it. I'm on the stage. That's one thing that's really important. So I try to tell our agents, try to go to 2 events a week. And I know with kids and all that stuff, it's sometimes hard, but you can take half a day off and spend the day with your kids and then at night go. I mean, my kids had babysitters their whole life on Fridays and Saturday nights if we weren't out of town because we were always at a charity event. And you can see, as an expressive, you guys might laugh after last week's class, standing out is a big deal. Like this particular event was a black tie event and I was just kind of in a mood and I said, screw you guys, I'm wearing jeans. So I stood out. This particular event, I stood out in my leopard, and this one. So if you know me, or if, I have a lot of different jackets like this, a lot of different crazy suits. I have the world's most expensive shoes. I do things to stand out so people go, dude, look at Mike this time. I want to be talked about. And sometimes I don't even care if it's bad because I'm getting talked about. So when I show up in an event and I walk in, like picture me walking in this leopard suit, people are like looking and they're going, oh shit, here's Mike. Uh-oh, here we go. And I'm not afraid to just kind of be myself and have fun with it. A lot of people get to charity events and they're all quiet and they're trying to be so respectful and like, I have to be this, quiet. And it's just weird how people get at events. And I'm like, what's up? I'm here. Let's party. Let's have fun. Let's spend some money. Let's do some good for this event. And then I will be seen shaking hands with the top people in the room. I'll be taking pictures with them. I'll be being interviewed and I'll be writing big fat checks. So the next day when it's all over the newspaper, people are talking still. And I like that. And that's what helps you get known in your community. and we're going to back all this up. Don't worry. This isn't just a big cockiness thing. We're going to back it up with real estate and all that stuff in a little bit later. Speaking is a really big deal, you guys. And for those of you who know me, I travel all over the country and I speak and train agents. This top picture here was my partner and I. We called the sheriff's department in the city and we said, we'd like to have a safety meeting about tenants and homes being on the market and everything to do with property management. And they said, okay, well, that's fine, but you can't close it off to your competition. No problem. I said, all I want to do is just run it. And I just want to have a booth on the side so I can pass stuff out and books that we've written and whatnot. And that's okay. So whenever my competition got to this meeting, we had booths, we had special shirts, we had everything going, and they were just sitting in the audience pissed off because I was running the show of everything. Speaking, trying to do little things, like I brought my dog to work and spoke one day. I don't even know what this is. Just guest speaking at events. This one here is me speaking at a big REO convention. I'd go to other offices and help other brokers train, and that would be social media, whatever. It doesn't matter what it was. I just want to speak everywhere I go because it demands authority. Every time I speak, people come up to me and say, hey, that was a good presentation. I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to hook up with you on Facebook. Will you come speak at my organization or my office? And things grow and opportunities grow. I don't know if you can see these here. These are our speaker badges. I spoke every year for the California Association of Realtors on property management. This other one here is on a huge panel at a very big REO conference when I was consulting for B of A, Freddie Mac, Wells Fargo, Fannie Mae. And you guys, I only got into REO in the end of 2010. And by 2012, I was on every single stage there was, because I'm always going to the top, always going to the top, always going to the top, right? So you get enough opportunities like this, you can see how you start to stand out in your community or your industry, and it really makes a big deal. So anytime you have the opportunity to go on stage, be interviewed on TV, anything, do it. Call your local boards, right? Call the Women's Council of Realtors, call NAREP, call ARIA, call these places and say, I want to do a class, I want to teach. And pretty soon your reputation gets known as a leader and a teacher. And as long as you're delivering good content, which you guys can after all these classes that we're going to be going through over the next couple of months, you guys are going to be rock stars. So you can do all this on your own. Okay, branding is everything. I'm a huge brander. There's a couple branding classes that I have on the YouTube channel, and you guys should watch those. So right now, like, I don't know if you can see, I'm wearing a Team Bjorkman t-shirt. These are all t-shirts that I've had in the past. I wear Dickies shirts every day. I always have something engraved on it. SCV Leasing, so if you're getting confused, is my old property management company from a long time ago. Look, Deanna, look how cute you are. Deanna's our marketing person. She's on this webinar right now. She actually fixed this link so you guys could get in today. She's been with me for like 10 years. I haven't changed a bit, darling. So branding is everything. Everywhere I go, if it's a kid's football game, church, charity, they're gonna know my name. They're gonna say, oh, that must be Mike. I'm not gonna be the guy in plain clothes being the secret agent, not knowing. I want everybody to know that I'm a real estate agent, and if they don't know, I want them to ask me, why do I have my name on my clothes? Why do I have my EXP logo on stuff? Why do I? I want them to ask me. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. All right. Bigger branding. So you can see when we do events, like I have a step and repeat for everything, and people have the little banners, and I roll up with a 10 by 10 step and repeat. And sure enough, everybody takes pictures in front of those things. I don't know what it is. Everybody wants to be a movie star. So this particular banner I only had for about 6 months, but it was at the time, SantaClaritaRealEstate.com was a really important thing because that was a really hard domain to get. And at one time it was worth $1 million being offered me, or 500 grand. And I turned it down because I wanted $1 million. But now domain names aren't as important as they used to be. So I would have my competition, other real estate agents coming to events, taking pictures in front of my step and repeats. Like, how stupid is that? But they did it. Moving van, just so you guys know, and we can talk about this offline or we can do another meeting about it, is by far the best thing I've ever, and I mean ever, done in real estate next to Facebook. Moving vans are key for everything. But here's what I know. I found out really quick that they're not for clients. Clients destroy them. They bring them back empty. They're a mess. They go through red lights. They crash into crap. And I figured out right away that charity is the one that really needs them and really appreciates them. Doesn't matter what charity it is, they always have a reason to borrow your van. Most of it's auctions, but there's a lot of other reasons too when they buy equipment or whatever. Um, so people would say, Mike, well, let me show you how I got this off the ground. I would get a list of all the nonprofits or make a list of all the nonprofits, and I'd call and say, I need to talk to the CEO of that company, that nonprofit. They're humans. It's not like they're God. They get on the phone. I say, listen, I have a moving van that's free and you could use it at any time. If you look at this old one here, when I worked at Remax years ago, it says free to churches, chambers, charities, and then clients, but then we decided no more clients. So it actually advertised on the side. It's churches, chamber, and charity. Like, that was a big deal. So the CEOs would actually call me and say, hey, we have an event coming up this week. We need your van. And I'd say, cool. If you're going to borrow my van, I'm going to ask a favor of you. Number one, I want to be in the program for free. Number two, I want a table at the event. When you say a table, that's usually 8 to 10 people. And they're like, oh, okay. And then or a really good deal on one, because these tables usually, if you guys been to a charity events, are $1,000 to $10,000, and I'd get them for free all the time. And I'd say, and the last thing I want you to do is leave my van parked up front at the event. So people would walk up and go, oh, jeez, here's Mike again. And then they'd walk into my leopard suit, and then they'd see me on stage, and then they'd see me making it rain. And so these little things start happening over and over and over and make it better and better and better. Pretty soon it got so bad that I had to have a second, a third, and a fourth van. So you see the little van, and when I first got it, I said it was for property maintenance, but we didn't have a maintenance division yet. So people use this van just to move in like golf tournaments, cases of Coke and beers and ice and whatever. That was just kind of the runner van, and the big vans were used for everything. But I'd have these going at all times. I'll warn you now, it's time consuming. It is the best thing I ever did. And you could pretty much stop doing everything else if you just did charity events, because you get to meet so many people, so many good people, so many rich people, so many nice people, and you're constantly running these vans around and picking them up and dropping them off. You're like exhausted, but it works, right? People know you, people know your company, and these are rolling billboards. In my town, a billboard's $3,000 a month. Like that van, I think I paid like 10, 11 grand for it, and I paid $2,000 for the wrap. I just gave that van away, actually, that one that's in the picture. I had it since 2004, and I just got rid of it like 6 months ago, and I donated it to a charity that I'm very passionate about, handicapped kids that ride horses. It's called Carousel Ranch. So I just gave it to them. It was a good write-off, and they were so appreciative. And of course, I was in all the magazines and on TV for donating a van to the charity. But in reality, my career switched a little bit to where I didn't have enough time to be running that stupid van around all the time, because it was a lot of work, because it was used every single day, every single weekend. And I was exhausted, and I was, I travel a lot. So it was hard to do. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on these vans, but it's important. Now, all these pictures also ended up on social media, right? Like I took my kids motorcycle riding. So of course I'm taking a picture of the Team Bjorkman van, me being a cool dad out in the desert with my kids, up this top right. Like this is more branding. This is probably a Facebook post. These two kids now are right behind my door, 23 and 18. Look how long I've been branding. So that was, everything we do is branding. So we can go over branding again a little bit more later, but I want to get through this. Oh, I was just going to talk about the vans. I already did. Here's the van. I think this was the cheerleaders or something. So my van got to tow this boat full of cheerleaders in our 4th of July parade. Now there's tens of thousands of people sitting on the street. Look at that thing. Like, how you couldn't ask for better advertising, right? And we always took it motorcycle riding when I owned HomeSmart. Right here you can see we used to collect or go buy thousands of pumpkins and give them to the homeless, and not homeless, but the people that couldn't afford very much. So we'd go to the Child and Family Center and different organizations, and then we'd give out free pumpkins for Halloween and stuff like that. Here it is at a golf tournament, right? Golf tournaments love it. And it would just sit on a hole, like my hole that I got to sponsor. Like, dude, you couldn't ask for better advertising. I hope you guys take this very seriously, because if you're just selling homes and you just want to have real estate as your career, you need a couple of these puppies. It's the best thing in the world. I couldn't describe to you how much money I made off those vans. All right, this is another little cocky part, but take this very seriously. And this is the reason why, you guys, these photographs of me. It says, don't be afraid to look awesome. Show yourself living large and in charge. It's perfectly normal to spend money when you're successful. Work hard, but play harder. Here's what I learned right away. When I first started making money and spending money, I would show it off a little bit. But here's what happens. When you are successful, successful people, birds of a feather, flock together, right? So as soon as I started flying around in first class, going on extravagant vacations, cruising around in limousines and party buses, flying around in helicopters, doing all this cool stuff, my clientele became a little different. Also, at the same time, I put my kids in private school. I was members of the country club, so I'd spend a few $100,000 a year on this stuff, which was fun as hell, but I'd also make a lot more than $1 million a year. So the ROI on these things is incredible. So I would go to like this little Cancun or wherever the heck I was trip. CEOs and dentists and doctors would call me and say, hey, I want to go on that vacation you went on. Where'd you go? And you think, and you look at people on social media and say, wow, if they can afford that, they're probably pretty good at selling homes. I have to say that if I was going to have heart surgery and my doctor drove a Prius, I'm probably not going to go to that guy. But if they're driving a Bentley, Phantom, Ferrari, yeah, that's who I'm going to trust. And again, debate me all you want on this, but I've time tested and proven it. So I'm in a position where I can say this is true, right? So the better I looked, the more awesome I looked, the more successful I looked, the better clientele I got, the less objections I got. People would just say, I have to have you sell my house. I don't want anybody else to sell my home. You're a baller. You freaking take care of business. You work hard and you play harder. And that's what people respect and want for themselves. So, that kind of attracts people. And the kind of people that it makes go away are people that are losers, that won't work, that aren't successful because they won't hustle. They're just lazy. So they don't get to do these types of things, right? So those are the people that talk crap about you. And I don't care. That they can live their life in their 1-bedroom apartment, but I want to live my life in a big house, rolling first class. And I want to make money doing it. And I want to make money because I'm doing it. All right. So this is so funny. Hang out with celebrities. Like, try to always be somewhere cool. Like, Tammy and I had our own TV show for months. For years, probably 5 or 6 years. And it was just public access, but you're still the stars. We still had makeup and hair. We still had it going on. And we still interviewed the most wealthy and successful people in town, the politicians, and all the people from charities. So all this stuff came together. And all those videos got to be used, and we got to be on all their Facebooks and all their Twitters and all their LinkedIns and stuff. This is Robert Allen, the #1 author for real estate ever. Like, you get a picture. Robert Allen actually invited me to his house to a party, and I got to hang out with the biggest snobs in the world. Like, here's one of them, John Assaraf, right? That's a picture of me and him. I know I look 12 in that picture. It was probably a long time ago. This is Kelly Packard, my next door neighbor from Baywatch. Right. So she was just over this morning. Her oven broke and it's her daughter's birthday. So she finished her cake this morning in my house. But she's a big time celebrity and a lot of people are in love with this girl. So what do? I invite her on my show. Right. She's awesome. She presented me with her bathing suit, and all that stuff. And that was worth so much. It wasn't even funny. My phone rang off the hook. People were just, and she said super nice things about me on the show and blah, blah, blah. Here's me on the Channel 5 News. This is where, millions of people in Los Angeles watch. And I put this in here. This is Michael Hellickson's house in Seattle. I happened to be cruising through town. He wasn't even in town, but I went in front of his house and I took a picture and I said, this is how you know you're a good real estate coach. You can afford a mansion like this. And it was crazy. And it just went off. So always try to hang out with successful people. Again, birds of a feather flock together. So, I just have hundreds and thousands of pictures of myself with really cool, interesting people. And you never know what kind of action that brings you. So I love it. So this is more about the print media and stuff like that. This is me and my buddy Bob at the Playboy Mansion for a charity event. Here's me back in the day, if you can even believe that, me winning my 40 under 40. But this is all in print magazine, right? Here's me. I sponsored a charity fashion show, and I got to be in the fashion show, and my team did too. And for whatever reason at that time, I just had nothing but knockout women that worked for me. So they were all in the fashion show, and we ran that thing. Like, we were everywhere, front page of every possible paper, you name it. Here's a, fancy magazine in our town. This was Dancing with Our Stars. This was another really big charity event. Here I am on the front page of this magazine. Here's the same magazine, me in front of it. I don't know. This is our senator's wife with me and a bunch of other influencers in our town. Here's me with a really famous surgeon from Beverly Hills, and this was on our show. So I got Botox done on our TV show. So all this stuff, like, you can't possibly. Here's a Team Bjorkman shirt at a Disney Ranch. If you guys know where Disney Ranch is, where they film Pirates of the Caribbean, they film Lassie and all sorts of stuff there. It goes back hundreds of years. But this was another charity event that we did. I had all my team dress up in Team Bjorkman cowboy stuff. So it's things like this where I want to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with people, right? Now today, because of retargeting on Facebook, we can do that. But before, we didn't have that. So I had to learn how to get in every publication, be on every TV show, be at every event, and be the main talk of my town at every given time. Like, every time somebody turned around, they'd see me and go, Jesus. So when I come to a charity event, they'd be like, oh, I saw you were this and that and this and that and this and that. And that gives you a really good feeling, and it builds confidence. So you can roll around like a boss at these charity events. And then people say, God, that guy's really confident and he must be good at what he does. So I have a $2 million house. I don't know if I'd rather trust anybody else with it, because he's good at marketing. He's good at branding. He must be pretty good at selling homes too. So and then we go through, now we start bringing in a little bit of the real estate stuff in this. You got to do branding differently, right? You got to stick out differently than most agents are willing to do. So we come up with cool stuff. Like, this was on the front of a magazine, me tearing through this thing that says marketing, 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 marketing. Like, that was a really big hit for me. People were like, all you care about is marketing. And yeah, that's right. Selling a home is all about marketing. This word search was in a magazine. I did a bunch of these, actually. And every time I'd say, have fun with the word search. And I'd have the answers upside down at the bottom of the corner. And if you read some of these things, experience, Bjorkman, tools, highest price, fast, marketing, sell, like, buyers. And then I have my website in there. And people had a blast with that. My traffic was just like blowing up all the time. And then we go back to real estate, like our little postcards here. There's a couple things I want to point out, and I should probably put the EXP things in here since I don't home sort anymore. But like luxury is one of the words that's subconscious, right? I want people. I have a luxury farm. Anything in my town that's over $1 million, I like to sell. The Team Bjorkman house selling system. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, but apparently it makes the phone ring, right? Your home sold in 90 days guaranteed, or we'll sell it for free. That shows confidence, and that's a call to action. And like, how could you not like consider listing with me if that comes in your mail? Free online evaluations and reports, SantaClaritaHouseValue.com. Like, just different stuff. I know this is a long time ago that I used to do this stuff, and I got most of the stuff from Craig Proctor when I was like 19, but it still works. And then we go wrap this all back up into social media. And I skipped over something, I think. Let me see. If you're listening to this on a podcast, I apologize. You're like, I really go back and watch the video on our YouTube channel. So then social media for the kill, right? We tie all this stuff in with social media. And remember, we do have a lot of social media training on there, and it's going to be our homework, the theory of social media, part 1 and 2. And I think it might've been back in the week 2, but we're going to probably do it again, because I think there's a lot of new people on here. But you can see the numbers that we generate off these. Everything that's print ad is going to be print and social media, or put on social media. Like, you can see like 3,500 people, 5,200 people, 13,000 people, but it's got to be balanced, right? It's got to be lifestyle. Like, here's one of my favorite things ever is when we do cool things with the kids. So I'll do it, for instance. Yeah, I went and bought VIP tickets to a Red Bull race, right? And we got VIP. So if you look at the way I word my posts, it's kind of fun. Like, so we really owe our friends at Red Bull a huge thank you for the ultimate VIP experience. These never stop with the love, and it goes both ways. It almost looks like I work there, or I'm like a VIP at their thing. All I did was buy a VIP ticket, We talk about my kids a lot. So there's balance. No get to know, like, and trust me. So there's all this balance. So when I do look super cocky, I can always back it up with a lot of real estate sales, and I can always back it up with how much I love my friends and family. So whether they like it or not, it creates balance, and they have to start liking me. They're like, man, guy's got it going on. Like, he's got it all. He's got the careers, he's got the companies, he's involved in charity, he loves his family, he's got the hot wife, he's got all this stuff going on. So at some point, you're gonna have to start to like me and trust me, and eventually I'm gonna sell your house. And that's just the way it is. I will get into your heart, your mind, and your soul. Um, and maybe there's some of you guys watching going, God, I'd love to hate you, Mike. I just want to hate you. But here you are on this thing, and that's okay. And that's just because I've created my life that way. So I hope you guys liked that. There's some, let me see what we could do. Stop sharing. So some of the other ideas, what I want you guys to do for your homework is kind of take this Corona downtime, and maybe this has been an eye-opener for you. I know it's been for me and my family, a lot of other people. And I realize more than ever that people need help, and people need leadership, and people need people that pray for them and shoulders to cry on. How could you spend the next couple of weeks in quarantine figuring out what charities you're truly passionate about, possibly change your daily schedule around to where you could free up some time for some committees? Like, most cities have committees, most chambers have committees. And when you start getting involved in chambers and city, it's kind of cool. Like, when I was really involved in the chamber, I would have chamber mixers. Like, we would go to chamber mixers. I think they're once a month. They used to be like every 2 weeks, but now, so let's say a car dealership has a mixer, they have food and wine, and it's the best place because you're allowed to pass out your business cards. As a matter of fact, if you don't pass out a business card, you're an idiot. But most events you go to aren't about work, right? But a charity or a chamber event is. So you're allowed to say, here's my card. Now, I have a lot of other different things for that, and maybe someday we can talk about that more offline. But the most important thing to do is, or what I used to do is, after a chamber mixer, while it was fresh in everybody's mind, I would stop by and draw, pop buys, like Brian Buffini, pop buys with your clients, pop buys with people that are influential in the community and business owners. And I would go there and I would say, hey, I want to do a little video with you. I want to promote your business on social media, and I want to hang out with you. And I brought a little gift, and I just, I didn't get a chance to talk to you much at the chamber mixer. So we're not really bugging people, by the way. Bosses kind of point fingers and tell everybody what to do, and they're just kind of managing their show usually. So it's okay to pop by and drop off a little gift, use common sense if they're busy, but I would do that all the time. So it would just be funny because I wouldn't think of just business owners. It would be doctors, it might be the mayor, it might be just anybody that you can actually go talk to during the day. If nothing else, you tell their secretary or whatever and just say, here's my card, tell Joe I stopped by, and do me a favor, give him a hug for me. And then they go, hee, 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 and then they're like, you leave, and they're like, wow, that was funny. Now you got all these people talking about you. So when it comes time for those people to buy houses, they go to their boss, Joe, and say, Joe, remember that guy, Mike Bjorkman? He was silly and he said some goofy stuff. Would you use him? And Joe's gonna be like, absolutely. So going to the top is always a really big deal for me. Let's light it up for some questions and answers if you guys want to. Other than that, I'll just kind of babble a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed that. And you guys, I do realize some of that sounds cocky, but I want to be really upfront and honest and true with you guys about my calculating, my tactics, my attitude, all this stuff, because nobody likes weak agents. Nobody likes agents that are quiet and shy, and nobody likes agents that aren't standing out. Like there's so many times people have said to me, Mike, my best friend's a real estate agent, but they don't have the confidence as you. They don't have the marketing ideas that you have. They don't support the community like you do. They don't do this, they don't do that. And it's a pretty big deal to be able to say, like, hey, I smoked you out of that. No, I'm using my own background. I just threw a logo on it the other day. But I mean, it's kind of cool to say, look, because of my year or 2 years or 20 years of hard work in my community, that now I have deals falling in my lap, and they're very easy to get. When I go up against other agents, there's not much of that because I've made a name for myself. So branding on social media, branding in media, branding in print, branding in all this different stuff really makes a big deal. All right, let me see if I can unmute you. Where is that hand raised? Hold on. Sorry, I'm getting there. Oh, there it is. All right, Kristen, what you got for us? You there? Unmute. Unmute. Kristen, I think you're on mute. I'll keep babbling while you try to get yourself off mute. Anyways, all right. So, what else? We got another question and answer in here. What women do you think do this well? It's a bit different to stand out as a female, and I would love to see some great examples of that. All right. So, my best answer for that is my ex-partner Tammy. Tammy and I, we had the TV show together. We sold homes together, and she was just like me, but a woman. And it was very fascinating to watch the power this woman had. And there's a lot of other women in business too. They have to be extremely careful, right? You don't want to be known as, and I'm going to try to filter, you just got to be careful of your reputation. So she would wear extremely classy business suits, non-revealing, very professional. She would always be made up perfectly for events, and she'd be very classy and well-spoken. But at the same time, she would stand out, and she would be a leader and powerful and get up on the stages and do the interviews with the most influential people in our town. And she'd still wear the high heels, but she'd rock them like as a boss. And I think that's a really good question, because there is probably a little bit more of a a little more thought process that goes between it. Guys always have to wear suits, right? So we're always fine, but the women always have to decide what kind of skirt, how revealing, and what colors, and just basically, I would just be classy but powerful. I hope that answers your question, and I think that's pretty normal. But it's okay to be beautiful. It's okay to wear the red bottom shoes. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to wear the expensive purses, and it's okay to show you're successful too. Like she walked in, and I hated walking in with her because she would steal all my attention. Like she was just that kind of girl. And if you guys know Tammy, there really wasn't anything quite like her. But there is a lot of other women, and Darcy, we can talk about this on Marco Polo later, and I can point out some of the women in our industry and in Club Wealth, and some of them in Lab Coat. And I'll have you connect with them on social media and just kind of watch them and pay attention to what they do, because there's some pretty fantastic women for sure. All right, Kristen, I don't know what to tell you. I'm still trying. Why don't you type in the question and answers, and then we'll go from there. And that should be that. All right, anything else you guys want to chit chat about? All right, so you guys know that I'm open and available during the week. I'm doing probably 10 Zooms a day and doing a lot of interviews and stuff like that. If you guys want to reach out and talk to me about this sort of stuff, standing out in your industry, standing out in your career, getting influential people on your Zooms with you, on your podcasts, all that sort of stuff, let me know, and I'll walk you guys through that, because this is an amazing opportunity right now to stand out and emerge as a badass leader. So I really want you guys to take advantage of this. And that's kind of why I threw this in today, because this is a really good chance to shine and help people. So I hope you guys dig that.